Hello, YouTube divers. This is WaterDive 122, and I want to welcome you all to a very interesting video. A little bit of an abnormal video for this channel, you should say. We're basically going to be bringing back a little bit of a segment from the early days of my channel, where we talk about the NFL. Not really predicting the games because let's be real here. Those videos have aged like milk if when you really look at it. Today we're mainly just going to be talking about my favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Their embarrassing, pathetic performance that they had today against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a 33-16 loss, which that score is mightily deceiving, but we'll get into that. What the state of our division is looking like, what the state of this team is looking like, and yeah, where do we go from here? Essentially, it's gonna be that type of video. And just a side note, a little bit of a warning: this is gonna be a rant video. I'm gonna try and keep it as PG as I possibly can. So, just to let you know, just to get that out of the way, because I am incredibly upset and I'm incredibly frustrated with this team right now, as many Eagles fans are. So, right off the bat, let's get started with the elephant in the room. The Eagles are 2-2, dropping a road contest against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 33-16. In a game which the Eagles looked absolutely pathetic. And I speak for most, if not all, Eagles fans out there when I say this. This team is trash. This team is abysmal. And it's very frustrating because this team has talent to compete for Super Bowls. This team has the talent to win a championship. But why is it not here, you may ask? Well, it all boils down to what I consider to be five main categories. Number one, the coaching, specifically by head coach Nick Sirianni. Now, all off season, we have heard constantly that, it was the coordinator's fault for why we sucked so badly in the second half of the 2023 season, which, yeah, I mean, Brian Johnson and Matt Patricia and Sean Desai were not it. They were not good coordinators. All of us Eagles fans were putting the blame on them, and not really so much on Nick Sirianni. And now we go into the first 4 weeks of the 2024 season. We have new coordinators, Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, to run the offense and defense respectively. And then what do? We do the same crap again. Same play designs with very little variety. Very little, if not any. You add Saquon Barkley. You steal Saquon Barkley from the Giants. And just like you did last year with DeAndre Swift, but I will give credit, this regime is trying to utilize, at least acknowledging that Saquon is there. They're allowing him a lot of touches, or at least in the first 3 games of the season they were. But we'll get to his stats today. For today's game against the Bucs. You bring Saquon in, it's the same freaking thing. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Not even in the slightest. You still Jahan Dotson from the Washington Commanders literally about a month ago to put him in as your wide receiver 3. And with our 2 top wide receivers out of the game, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, both are hurt. A.J. Brown with a hamstring injury that he suffered before the Falcons game. Might have been during the Packers game, I can't remember. But somewhere between weeks 1 and 2, hamstring injury, out. Devontae Smith, horrible concussion, suffered against the Saints due to a cheap shot, which led to the 65-yard touchdown by Saquon Barkley. He was out today. So you would think with those 2 guys out, you would think that Jahan Dotson would at least have some catches today. Didn't need to have a big game, but, still, just have at least a couple catches. Nope. The only bright spot in the past game has been Dallas Goedert. These last 2 games, including this one and this game and last week's game against the Saints, Dallas Goedert has been great. Has been a great weapon for this team. Great tight end. Dude is on pace to have a great season. He is. He's literally, along with Saquon, the only bright spots on this offense right now. Maybe it'll change when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith come back. But for right now, it's just him and Barkley running the show. But anyways, back to Sirianni. The dude is just so frustrating when calling plays. He just does not know how to properly utilize this talent. And I'll give some coaches a break. It is hard to properly utilize talent around your team to make sure that every single part of the team is working on all cylinders. But at some point, you have to be able to recognize what's working and what's not working. Saquon Barkley had 10 carries for 84 yards today. We did not start running him properly until the 3rd quarter, where he had that 59-yarder, brought us down the field. Every time Saquon Barkley has touched the ball, for the most part, it's been successful. But yet this team is just trying to force a pass-happy scheme. And maybe it's fine when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But for right now, this is the type of scenario where your run game has to be the strong point, whether it's runs with Jalen Hurts or whether it's runs with Barkley or Gainwell. Well, probably not Gainwell, but with Barkley. You have to know when to use your weapons at what time. The Eagles' offense did not gain a single yard until the final drive of the 2nd quarter, where they went down and scored a touchdown. That was great. But this team is just so freaking infuriating. And the fact that we did not fully look at Nick Sirianni as the problem, when many Eagles fans were saying that, hey, this is not the guy. This is not the guy to lead us to a championship. But yet, we went with it. We got rid of the coordinators from last year, brought new ones in, hoping that there would be a new scheme. And then you have Sirianni, and then 3 weeks later, you have Sirianni saying, oh yeah, it's still me who's calling the plays. And it's the same, and we know it's him. He doesn't need to admit it, because we've seen this the entirety of the 2nd half of the 2023 season. It is abysmal. It is freaking abysmal. I'm not saying that I can do a better job, but geez, Howie, oh my gosh, it is just brain melting. Just trying to explain the issues with this team, which leads me to my second reason to complain about this team. Jalen Hurts. Good gosh, what in the actual heck has happened to Jalen Hurts? I have never seen a quarterback that has gone from straight up amazing to less than a year and a half garbage. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I have Carson Wentz. I mean, well, at least with Wentz, he had a couple of solid seasons following the 2017 Super Bowl season where he tore his ACL. He didn't come back until week 2 the following year. He had an okay stretch, 2018, 2019, then 2020 he was bad. And then the Jalen Hurts thing started. Fired Doug Peterson, brought in Nick Sirianni. Wentz traded to the Colts. Peterson gets a job with the Jaguars. I mean, and we've all seen how badly Carson Wentz and his situation has been. I just feel really bad for the guy, honestly. But back to Jalen Hurts. I would not be surprised if he went down a similar path to Carson Wentz. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a talented quarterback. He is. He's a great scrambler. He's a great rushing quarterback. But the dude cannot throw an accurate ball to save his life. He cannot. Just the amount of passes that he missed today. He had Saquon Barkley on the first drive wide open for a huge gain of not a touchdown. Missed him. Flat out missed him. It was abysmal. Not to mention that the guy leads the league in turnovers. Kind of gives me 2020 Carson Wentz vibes all over again, honestly. It's just abysmal, my God. He fumbled again today. Thankfully, he didn't throw an interception. This is his first game of the season without throwing an interception. Although he probably should have had one today. Dude is just playing freaking terrible football. And I'm tired of watching it. It is just really, really bad. And then, point number 3, the defense. The defense was abysmal the second half of last season, ever since they got clobbered by the 49ers. Well, they're back to being abysmal again. Although, they have looked a little bit better. I'll give them that. That week 3 outing against New Orleans, chef's kiss. A+ performance by the defense. Today, F- performance. And it gave me a lot of flashbacks to our wildcard outing against the Bucs last season, where this defense just could not tackle anyone. They were leaving guys wide open. They were letting Baker Mayfield basically do whatever the heck he wanted. No pass rush whatsoever. Bryce Huff. We gave up Hassan Reddick and a third-round draft pick to the Jets for Bryce Huff, and he has not even appeared on the frickin' stat sheet. Abysmal. Brandon Graham got a sack today. Great to see him finally getting back on the sack sheet. Same thing with Josh Sweat. That's great. Jordan Davis, once again, being a liability in pass rushing. He's more of a run stopper. I've said this ever since he was drafted. Jordan Davis is a run stopper, not a pass rusher. Jalen Carter, non-existent for the most part. Linebackers, Nakobe Dean. He cannot tackle to save his life. He cannot freaking tackle to save his life. Secondary, Darius Slay is washed. It's not even funny anymore. Keely Ringo has been playing better than him in all of his snaps, and he's been limited. He's been mainly used on special teams. Reed Blankenship has looked pretty good. We brought back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, got him back from Detroit. Talk the talk, cannot walk the walk. Constantly leaving wide receivers wide open. It happened against the Packers. It happened against the Falcons. It was just abysmal. Cooper DeJean, our second round draft pick, just been completely non existent. Not his fault, because he's not even playing. Because we're still using a Vontae, I can't tackle to save my freaking life, Maddox. You want to talk about another guy who's leaving wide receivers wide open, way out, deep down the field? At this point, why not put in Cooper DeJean? Even if it doesn't help it at first, just see what you have in the guy. Because clearly Avonte Maddox is not the answer. Dude's injured most of the time. I'm surprised they haven't amputated his toe. But when he is on the field, most of the time, he's been bad. Really bad. Especially these last couple of seasons. I'm really trying to control my emotions here, guys. Fourth point. I'm going to try and keep this one brief. Howie Roseman. I'm not gonna try and blame Howie for all of this mess, because he has brought in a lot of talent. He did draft Devontae Smith. He did bring in A.J. Brown, which have all been great players for us. He did draft Dallas Goedert. And of course, at the time it was questionable, but he drafted Jalen Hurts, and now that's looking like it's going to age like milk. You draft Quinyon Mitchell, you draft Cooper DeJean. Quinyon Mitchell's been a good player. DeJean, we need to get him off the bench, let him play some defensive snaps, see what you have in him. But dude's just got to pay attention to the coaching hires that he makes. It's clearly Sirianni ain't it. And I don't know if he can't recognize that. I don't know if the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, can't see that. I don't know what the whole situation is. But I cannot believe that they cannot see that Sirianni is just not the guy for us. But yet us fans can. It's just totally out of proportion. And lastly, the fifth and final point I want to discuss here. All of these reasons is why the Philadelphia Eagles are as bad as they are. All these reasons smushed together, and maybe more that I don't have time to talk about, because this video is a gajillion minutes long. But this team is terrible. You put money into this team, you put money in the defensive side of the ball, they still cannot tackle. They are still constantly leaving receivers wide open. The pass rush has significantly regressed from our historic 70-sack season that we had in 2022. The absence of Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox are very much present on this front seven. And the absence of Jason Kelce. I know the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in the league, but recently, I don't know if it's Jalen Hurts just holding on to the ball for too long. I personally think it is, but for the most part, Jalen is getting sacked most, if not all the time. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely mind-boggling, and I'm tired of it. All of us Eagles fans are tired of it, and a change has to be made. Whether it's coaching, whether it's game plan adjustments, coming up with a new scheme, getting more of your secret weapons utilized, properly utilizing the talent that you do have, and hopefully when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith come back, whenever they come back, who knows when they will, whenever they come back, hopefully they can provide some type of spark to this team. I mean, you could blame this game on injuries to key players all you want, but really, I doubt we would have won this game even if we did have AJ and Devontae in the game. With this egregious play calling, no one is going to succeed in this system. No one is. You put any quarterback, you put any wide receiver in this system, teams are going to figure it out right away because it's one of the most predictable systems and one of the most easygoing systems that you will ever see. The Eagles were once known to have one of the most high-scoring and one of the most high-powered offenses in the league. Well, not anymore. They were known for having one of the most in-your-face, physical, and relentless defenses in the league. Not anymore. This team is a shell of its former self, and it just perfectly sums up what just the sheer incompetency and dysfunction that this team has been through ever since Week 13 of 2023, where they got exposed by the 49ers. In many ways, 49ers fans, thank you for exposing us that day. Because now the league knows who we truly are. This team is frauds. This team is frauds at best. They will never win a championship with Nick Sirianni. Never win a championship. And I know he took us to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and I know we've technically never had a losing record under him. But think of it this way. With the product that's being put on the field right now, the past at this point is irrelevant. You look at the production that the Eagles have put on the field right now, they are 3-10 in their last 13 games, dating back to last season. Freaking abysmal. And I'm tired of it. Eagles fans are tired of it. We're all tired of it. The Eagles have a bye week coming up, and then they hit the road again in Week 6. Or should I say, I believe they come back to the Link on Week 6 when they host the Cleveland Browns. A team that hasn't looked very well. A team that hasn't looked very good. And I swear, if we lose to Deshaun Watson in the Cleveland Browns, this team is going to hear it from Eagles fans. We're going to bully them the same way that they bullied the coaching staff from 2021. Maybe even more harsher, given how insane this fan base is. But all of us Eagles fans just want change. We need new ideas. We need new, fresh ideas. And until that happens, a lot of us Eagles fans are going to be completely unsatisfied, and the whole league and the whole division is going to make fun of us. Believe me, I'm pretty sure Cowboys fans, Giants fans, Commanders fans, especially Commanders fans, because they're actually doing really well, are literally thinking about typing it up in the comment section, laughing at us and say, oh my gosh, you guys are the biggest frauds ever. Our teams are going to totally expose you. You darn right you are. I'm not even going to defend it anymore. Because at this point, there's nothing to defend. The Eagles, the Giants, if the Giants aren't the worst team in the division, if the Cowboys didn't have possibly the worst defense in the division, at least in these last couple of games, don't let that Giants game fool you. Yeah, the Eagles are at the very best, the third best team in the NFC East. This is looking like the Commanders' division to lose. It sucks that it has to be this way, but what can I say? We put ourselves in this situation. I'm not even going to say we need to play better. Because that is the least of our worries at this point. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here because this video is way longer than it needs to be. Thank you so much for sticking around with me, guys. Go Birds, I guess. Please, something has to be done. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is Water Eye 122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.